Welcome to another Stamp with Amy K YouTube Live. And I apologize if any of you came out to look at the video that I had started not once but two other times before now, trying to get this going the right direction. YouTube, of course, did an awesome update overnight last night, and my goodness, it made a total mess of my phone and trying to go live and all that good stuff. So I apologize if you saw the first two where I was scrambling around trying to get the video turned the right way. And I think we're good to go. Looks like I'm finally streaming horizontally, but gotta love technology when they update things and then I'm left trying to figure out how in the world to make it work right. So thanks everybody. I see you're hopping back in, and again, I apologize to anybody who started watching the videos later. Hopefully I didn't say any bad words because I was thinking them because the darn video would not switch for anything. Anyhow, so I see Carol and Judy and Marilyn and Pam and Barbara and Robin Karen, Joanne, everybody. Yep, glad that you all joined in. And thanks for hopping in today. And like I said, thanks again for putting up with the fumbling around and deleting videos and all kinds of crazy earlier. So, hey, Sherry and Tracy, I'm glad you're here as well. All right, so today I'm actually making something that I don't... yeah, I'm sure you did, Karen, because it took me, this is the third try at the video, trying to get it to go live because YouTube did a little update and, didn't tell us what had been updated. So things got all kinds of crazy. So yeah, they changed around a bunch of things and I don't even know. I'm hopeful that I just got the description of the video kind of right. So anyhow, so yes, we are doing a fun fold today. This one is called the Double Decker Fun Fold card, and I'm using the Stampin' Up! Adventurous Sky stamp set bundle for it. So it's kind of a cool little card. You've probably seen them before, but when it lays down flat, it's got sort of a double layer of framing around it, so hopefully you can see the little peak of boho blue around it, and then there's the smoky slate here, and it's kind of layered up on the card front, and then when you open the card, it's like a Z fold, and then there's this little inner piece in here that's like a little bonus flippy card, and then it goes actually to the inside of the card. Hopefully I'm holding it on screen. So anyhow, so it's kind of a cool, just a different little fun fold. And I don't do fun folds very often. And when I do them, they're always very easy. So this one is super simple to do. But yeah, and I thought it was kind of cool. And I thought it would be perfect for the airplanes because, you kind of open it up. There's a couple more airplanes inside. And so yeah, that's the card we're making today. Again, it's super quick and easy. Adventurous Sky is the bundle that we're using. Oh, thanks, Bonnie. I appreciate that. And Pam and... Michelle is here, so yay, everybody. And I see Jean Ann is here and Doris. So everybody, thanks for joining today. Oh, and hey, it's Darlene. She's back. I'm glad you were able to get in today. So, all right. So, oh, no worries. Doris, I understand typos completely because I do them all the time. And half the time my video titles have have typos in them. So, all right. Adventurous Sky is the stamp set. It's good I think it's good for anybody, but particularly if you're like me and struggle with masculine cards, this is a great set for that. There are birthday and Father's Day specifically, but I think you could use this for a lot of different occasions. There's a You Always Lift Me Up. There's a To My Friend, Flying By to Say Hi. You're the Best, plain and simple. So thank you cards. Just a hello card, whatever. And then there are coordinating dies that go with it. So the open dies, I'll be showing you all these in a second, the airplane ones. There are 3 of them that go over the airplanes. And then we have some open ones that will cut out the airplanes. And then we have 3 that will cut out the clouds. Hey, Amanda and Bonnie and Sherry and Amy, everybody, thanks for hopping in. So again, got the little die cut. The open die cuts will cut the stamped image. This actually is designed to cut your happy birthday sentiment here. And then you can hook it on if you want to. You can use it just to cut the sentiment if you want to. But they're designed to hook together. So this is a little die cut that's like the pulley thingy, the thing you'd attach to the back of an airplane. And then you can die cut your airplane, although it'll cut this way, and attach it to the back of the airplane, and then it's like the airplane is pulling a little sign along behind it. So now you definitely need a larger card base to do all that together. I did not do that with my card today. Now, of course, I can't get all my dies back on here. But anyway, so that's how it's designed to work. And then there's a little propeller here. These are the wings, obviously, in the body of a plane, so you can use these together and just die cut the plane, so you don't even have to stamp it if you don't want to. So, all right, so there we go. That is the Stamp and Die Set bundle that we'll be playing with today. A couple other things that I used is my Stylish Shapes dies. Well, not mine. Well, this is my set, but I didn't design it. Stylish Shapes dies. These are the ones, they're my go-to for almost everything. They cut almost everything out. I used these two banner dies, one for the sentiment and one for the layer underneath it. And then I also used on my second sentiment, the little one that's here inside the card, I used one of the Unbounded Love dies, and it's just, yeah, this little circle die, the smallest of the circle dies that are on here. And yeah, that's all I used. So a couple things before we get going. Speaking of bundles, this is one of the bundles that is on the sale. There are a whole pile of bundles and some Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines that are an additional 10% off. During the month of June. You've only got a couple more days. I can't even believe we're at like the end of June already, because to me, I feel like June has just started and here we are, it's the 28th. So this sale goes on through the end of the month, which is the 30th. So make sure you're getting your orders put in for those bundles to get the additional 10% off on those. So it puts the price up to about 20% off the bundles, which is a pretty good deal. So I know Stylish Shapes is really the best. So you misplaced them? Oh no, I'd be in big trouble. I use them all the time. This ends on the 30th, and then Stampin' Up! Just announced bonus days will be starting on July 3rd and running through the end of July, so the 3rd to the 31st. For every $50 that you purchase in an individual order from Stampin' Up!, they are going to give you a $5 off coupon to spend during the month of August. So for every $50 that you purchase, you get a $5 off coupon code to redeem in August. So it's a great deal, great time to stock up on anything that you need, and have some coupons to use for little bonus items in August. And speaking of July 3rd and earning those coupons, Stampin' Up! Has some new, this is only a sampling of the new, so this is not everything, that is for sure, new online exclusives that will be starting on the 3rd of July for everyone to order. Lots of Christmas and holiday related things. There are also some Halloween and fall, so kind of getting a little early peek at some holiday items. These again are be available to order starting on the 3rd of July, and then you can get your bonus days coupon. You can earn those, as many of those coupons as you want to, during the month of July, and then redeem them in August. So a couple of the other online exclusives that are coming. Again, this is just a small sampling of the items that are coming. A couple of the sweets and the pretty new things that will be available for online exclusives starting on July 3rd. All right, let me know if you have questions on any of that stuff. And again, make sure that you get anything ordered on those bundles, any of the 10% off bundles, ordered before the end of June so you don't miss out on that awesome deal too. All right, the cards. Let's get on with that. So again, I know I don't do fun folds very often. And like I said, I always make sure they're easy ones. And this one definitely is. All right, so this card base is just your standard card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5. And I scored it at 4 1/4. And then I scored it a second time. I flipped it over and scored it at 2.5 inches here. So we've got our card base. Again, it's just a standard card base, just scored at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. And hopefully I said those measurements right the first time around. I think I did. Again, all the measurements will be on my blog tomorrow. So in case I mess anything up, look at the blog post. Everything will be out there, and you'll have the printable PDF tutorial and all that good stuff to follow along as well. This is a piece of the Take to the Sky Designer Series paper, and it's just cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So again, just kind of standard cardstock cuts on this one. And we're going to adhere it to the right-hand side of the card base, just trying to get it centered here around the edges and then with that score line. So we're just centering it on half of the card base, basically. Then I've got another piece, cut from the same piece of Designer Series paper. This one is cut to about 1 7/8 inches by about 5 1/4. And we're just going to take that, and then again, I'm not sure how well it shows up on the screen, but there's my little score line. So I'm just going to center that piece of Designer Series paper between the edge and the score line here. All right. Hopefully I can get it on there fairly straight and somewhat centered. All right, pretty easy so far. So the next layer that I actually put together was the inside of the card. So normally I don't fold my card bases ahead of time or as I'm assembling them, just because I find them more challenging to work with. They kind of pop open and bounce around, and it makes it difficult, in my opinion, to stick things on them straight. But this card, you actually kind of need to fold it ahead of time. So folding it on the one score line, and then it's like a Z fold basically, so I'm folding it back on the second score line and just giving it lots of good creasing here with my bone folder, so we get a good solid fold on it. Then I've got a piece of boho blue cardstock that is cut to 3.5 by 4.25, I think is what this is. Yep, 3.5 by 4.25. And then again, I don't know how easy it is to see, but I have scored it at the 1/2 inch line right down here. All right, then I've got a piece of the Take to the Sky Designer Series paper, and this is cut to 2.75 by 4 inches. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap around the edge, a little bit wider than what I typically put. But the reason that I'm doing that is because of the way the card layers. So again, you can change the measurements on it a little bit if you want to. This is how I did it so that the sky, I didn't want the sky peeking around the edge of my other Designer Series paper layer. And again, I'll show you in a second how that part works. So, all right, so I'm going to stick these together. And get a little Stampin' Seal on the back of there. And make sure I put it right side up on here. The upside down clouds might look a little odd. But again, I've got my score line here, edge of it here, and I'm just going to center it roughly between the score line and the right-hand edge, and then center it top to bottom. All right. Again, pretty easy so far. Then I'm going to take this little piece and fold it here on the score line and give it a good smash with the bone folder there. I'm going to unfold it. Again, because I find it a little easier to manage things when they're laying flat rather than trying to do it when it's folded up and bouncing around. I'm going to take Stampin' Seal, or you can use Seal Plus, or you could use liquid glue if you really want to, but I don't like liquid glue because I always make a mess with it. And then I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to lay this right in here. So here's my score line, and I'm just basically putting this right up here next to my score line. I'm going to lay it down flat, and again, just roughly center it here, top to bottom. This side is going to be a little different just because this has to be attached as it is, so there's no way to get around that. And then I'm just going to fold that right down on top of it. Give it a little smoosh with the bone folder, make sure it's stuck down well. And then there we've got our inside, the little pop-out inside layer all done. So does it make a difference how you fold it inside or outside? The way that they are designed to fold is the complete opposite of what you would think. And of course, I've stuck everything together. I don't have anything scored in front of me. So when I had this piece laying on my scoring tool, it actually was laying with the cloud side up, if that makes sense. And I ran the score tool down it. So it should look like the valley, and then you fold it on the valley. So it shouldn't, typically, you shouldn't see the mountain fold, you should see the valley fold along the edge. I don't know that it really matters. It just gives it a little bit more, in my opinion, finished look when you use the valley side of it. So there you go. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I do it. All right. And then we're going to grab the next layer and layer that right over the top. So again, this is all from that same pack of Take to the Sky Designer Series paper. This one should also be cut to 4 inches by 2.75. And then I've got a piece of Smoky Slate cardstock that is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So this one is only 1/8 inch bigger than my Designer Series paper. This one was 1/4 inch bigger. So that's how you get the little edge of the boho blue. I'll pull this one back over, but that's how you get the little edge of boho blue to stick out, is by having the one layer in the background being just slightly larger than the layer on the top. If you want more of a layer on here, just add an additional 1/8 inch on it and turn this one into like a 4 3/8 by 3 5/8, I think is what it would be. I'm challenging my math skills, but that's what I think what it should be. Then you have a little bit wider border on it. So, all right, let's stick this to the Smoky Slate cardstock. And try not to stick it sideways completely or upside down. Although I guess this one, I'm not really sure which one is right side up and which one's upside down on it, because I don't see any words. So it's just a matter of whether you want your airplane pointing up or pointing down. I think we'll probably point it up. I don't know if that's the right way, but it looks like it's not flying like into the ocean. I don't know. All right. So then when I line this up, obviously this is what I want it to look like with my little edging around here. I'm actually going to flip it the wrong side up, and then I'm going to use this crease right here as a guide for where I'm going to apply my Stampin' Seal. And I'm going to make sure that I don't go over this crease line, because if I do, I'll have my card all gummed together and stuck together in layers that I don't want stuck together. So, all right, Karen, I will give it a shot. All right, so I'm going to take this, and again, I'm just going to layer it up, try to line it up so that it's straight and lined up on the layer underneath. And then I'm going to smoosh it down to the card front with where I've got the adhesive at. And there we've got our 2 layers in here. So super quick and super easy. Like I said, the only thing that took a little math was just figuring out, of course, I saw a sample of this card. I'm like, that doesn't look very hard. I'll put it together. I'll figure out the measurements. So I did that. And then I went and looked, and there are like 50 billion videos out there with all the measurements in it. After I'd already figured it out, and I was so proud of myself for calculating everything out and getting it to fold right. And then I realized there were like a million videos of it. So I was feeling all creative, but then laughing at myself as I'm like, oh, apparently this wasn't all that creative. Everyone else has already figured it out. So, all right, so I've got some little pieces of basic white cardstock, and I don't know, I was feeling lazy and didn't want to cut up a bigger piece of the cardstock, so I just chopped up a bunch of little, or used up a bunch of my little scraps is actually what I did. And I've got Night of Navy ink, and we are going to ink the larger. There are 3 of the airplane images in the Adventurous Sky stamp set, and I'm just going to ink the largest one and stamp it on basic white cardstock. And again, you can do these all on the same piece of paper if you want to. I was just, trying to use up some of my smaller scraps, so I used a few pieces of basic white. And we're going to stamp this on basic white, which is the medium-sized airplane. And then there's the little tiny airplane. And we'll go ahead and stamp that on the basic white cardstock as well. And then we have a couple of sentiments to stamp. So this is the one that says flying by to say hi. And we're going to stamp that over here. Hopefully I've got enough room to die cut everything. I think I do. And then I've got the happy birthday sentiment, and we're going to stamp that one on the one remaining piece over here. Like I said, I did feel all accomplished and feeling like I was, figuring this out. And oh gosh, I never do fun folds, and I'm so, look at me go. I got this one all figured out. And then, like I said, then I went and Google searched and went, oh, okay. So apparently I'm not all that creative. So, like I said, I was just laughing at myself. So, okay. To color these images, I actually have the Basic Gray and Cajun Craze Stampin' Up watercolor markers. One comes from the Watercolor Pencils Assortment 1, and the other one comes from Assortment 2. And I think the gray one is from Assortment 2, and the Cajun Craze is Assortment 1, but I can't even remember. I just have them all dumped in a bin, so I don't know. I know that they came from 2 different assortments, that's all I can tell you. And I'm using the Cajun Craze to color the body of the airplanes. And it doesn't have to be really neatly colored because this is kind of a vintagey image, and so you can color it as much or as little as you want to. I didn't really do, like I said, that's kind of all I did for the Cajun Craze on them. And again, this one I'm just going to color in the body of the airplane with Cajun Craze and down the little, I don't know, is it legs? Arms, whatever you want to call it. Although I'm not sure I colored those on my first one, but that's okay. We're coloring them in Cajun Craze on this one. And then I've got the little airplane here as well, doing the same thing, just adding a little bit of color to the body of the airplane. And then we'll come back in with the Basic Gray and just add a little bit of color to all of the wings and the wheels or tires or whatever I think they're wheels on an airplane. Yeah, they call it wheels up, I think. Also right around the propeller, I did do a little bit of coloring, again, not very much, just a little bit of Basic Gray right around the propeller. So, hey, Linda, so thanks for hopping in. And aloha, and is it Aina? Hopefully I'm not totally destroying your name. Thanks for hopping in, and aloha, thanks for joining. And I bet you've got some beautiful weather in Hawaii. So it's actually kind of a pretty day here in New Jersey. The humidity is low, and we're about 75 degrees. So it's kind of one of those perfect, kind of rare summer days where we got lucky with the weather. So, all right. Oh, I got to color the big one, I guess. Big one, again, just going to color a little bit on the wings. And the wheels. And again, I'm just not spending a lot of time doing a lot of worrying about it being colored exactly because I want that kind of vintagey look to it. So coloring it how I'm coloring it, and I'm not going to worry about it. So, all right. Then I'm going to add, I realized I forgot to color in the little, I don't know, wheels, legs, whatever you want to call those things. Forgot to color those. Forgot to color my, around the propeller. Goodness, get to yucking. So I'm going to color that in with a little basic gray. It looks like I already did that one. So I think we're done with the coloring portion. So lots of, fantastic coloring tips or none at all. So it's pretty much colored how you want it to. So, all right, let me go and do some quick die cutting. So I'll show you the dies that I'm going to be using on everything. So I've obviously got my 3 plain dies, and these are from the Adventurous Sky stamp set. So this one cuts the larger plane. This one cuts the little plane. This one will cut your medium-sized plane. And then I've got from the Unbounded Love die set, I've got the one that's going to cut this sentiment. And then my Stylish Shapes die is the one that's going to cut the birthday sentiment. So let me be off screen for just a few seconds, and I'm going to cut out all these little die cuts, and I'll hop back on here and we'll finish assembling the card. All right. All right, so the first plane and the first sentiment are cut out. And let me grab this one next. All right. Wrong die slid. Come on. All right, so the second little airplane and sentiment are cut out. And where's my die sheet? There we go. And then I've got the final airplane here. All right, there we go. Get my dies all on their magnetic sheets so that hopefully I don't lose track of any of those and get rid of some of this junk I have laying around here. So, all right, let me grab my card back. I did cut ahead of time. This is from the Take to the Sky Designer Series paper, and I just cut it with the larger banner die from the Stylish Shapes dies, and it layers kind of nicely with the thinner banner die. So I'm going to stick this down to the card front with some Stampin' Seal. I am not going to go all the way to the edges because a little bit of the edge of this does hang off of my front panel, and I don't want it to be sticky and yucky on the flip side of this. So I'm just going to line it up here, try to get it on here straight. And then I'm going to grab my little birthday sentiment, and we will stick that on with some Stampin' Dimensionals, or my little half Stampin' Dimensionals. And we're just going to layer it right over the top of my larger banner die cut. And again, roughly try to get it centered and try to get it straight, which some days is easier than others. I think we got it okay. And then I'm going to take my larger airplane and we're going to stick that one on with some Stampin' Dimensionals as well. Whoop. Almost stuck that one to the grid paper and not to the back of the airplane. All right. Stick a couple more dimensionals on there. And again, I'm trying to be careful not to go all the way to the edges with my Stampin' Dimensionals, just because the edges of the airplane do hang off the front panel just a hair as well. So, whoop, there we go. All right, so I'm going to take this airplane and we will just stick it, how about right about there. And I tried to make it look like it was going upward a little bit. I don't know if I accomplished that or not, but that was my plan, is to have it not pointing like it was crashing. So I figured to make it look like it's going up a little bit. Then I grabbed some of the industrial trinkets, which it's part of this same suite from the Take to the Sky suite. And they're, as far as I know, designed to look like the head of a bolt on the top. And then the flip side of them does have a little design on it. So I suppose if you like the design, you could probably put it this way up instead. But I stuck the flat side down to the card, so, and just used some little mini glue dots. Stuck it to the back, and then stuck this one on here. Grabbed another one, and again, just put a little glue dot on the back of it, and stuck it sort of here right next to it, and then grabbed a third one, and stuck that kind of over to the side here. About like that. And that's it for the card front. So the main panel is done. Get those closed up before I throw them on the floor and have them go flying everywhere. Then we're going to work on this little inside panel. This one I did not put any dimensionals on it just because I didn't want to have any extra bulk inside the card, so I tried to keep those fairly flat. So I did just used mini glue dots to stick my sentiment and airplanes on. And I'm going to put the little flying by to say hi up here. And then we'll take the larger airplane and put that one on first. Again, just putting a couple little glue dots on it. We'll stick one more on the tail. And then we'll put that little airplane down here. And then the little smallest airplane, just going to take a couple more glue dots to stick that on. And we'll put that one up here closer to the sentiment. So there we go. I think I had them placed slightly differently on my card, but it's all right, all good. The last piece for the inside of the card, because I realized there really isn't a good place to write on this one. You could probably take basic white and put it on the back if you wanted to do that. But I decided I wanted it to open up and then I can't talk today, and then have the writing part on the inside of it. So I just grabbed a little piece, and again, I did the same measurement that I did with the 2 layers of designer paper on the card front. So this should be 2 3/4 by 4 inches tall. I wanted to make sure it was going to be hidden underneath the layers that I had on the card front. So that's why I went with that size, is that I knew that was going to fit underneath pretty easily and wouldn't have to worry about the edges of it hanging out. So this, I don't even know what this is called. I think in my tutorial, I called it the metal stamp, because I don't know what it's officially called. I'm sure there's a term for it. I just don't know what it is. So then I've got smoky slate ink, and we're just going to ink that up once. And I think we'll stamp it over here. And then we'll ink it up a second time and stamp it over on this side. There we go. Close that up before I put my fingers in it. And then I'm going to take Stampin' Seal, and we will stick that on the back of the card here, or the little piece of cardstock. And again, this is just basic white. And then there are many different ways that you could probably get this stuck inside the card without messing it up and, you know, having anything be crooked or whatever. I thought the easiest way to do it was actually to flip the card all the way open. So again, I've got my score line here, so I know I kind of want to stay away from that. I took it and put the pretty stamped side down. Well, is it pretty when it's metal? Anyway, put the stamp side down, the adhesive side up, and then I just flipped my card closed over the top of it, and then had perfect placement, hopefully, when I open it up so that it's covered. You won't be able to see it from the outside, but then as you open up the inside of it, then the layer on the inside where you can write your little note will appear. So that's it. Like I said, it was way easier than I thought it was going to be. And like I said, it's feeling all accomplished because I got figured out the measurements myself and then realized that everybody else already knew them. But it's all good. So that is it. Again, this is called the double-decker fun fold card. So if you search for that out on YouTube or whatever, you can find lots of other samples of it as well. But yeah, that's it. So quick and easy, couple masculine birthday cards done, which I always struggle with. So I love having this, stamp set, this whole suite of products that are perfect for masculine cards. And I also really love that this is one of the extra 10% off bundles through the rest of this weekend as well. Let me know if you have questions on anything. I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday. I'll plan to be live around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Tuesday. And then again around 2 o'clock Eastern time next week, Friday, for some more card projects. And yeah, again, the details I'll be posting for this card on my blog tomorrow, which is Friday. And the post will go live around 8 o'clock in the morning, and I will link back to the post. So in the description of the video, so you can click right over there tomorrow, starting on Saturday, and you'll be able to find all the measurements, the PDF tutorial, and lots of pictures too. So thanks again, everybody, for hopping in and joining. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we will chat with you all soon.